take that I recently found out is controversial. We should not rely on influencers and celebrities for their take on Israel-Palestine. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.
Guys, before we get into this video, if you'd like to support the work that I'm doing on this channel, consider signing up for my Patreon. The link is in the description down below. Now, let's talk about something that I've recently noticed on the internet, and it is individuals dogpiling on influencers and celebrities for not giving their take on Israel-Palestine, giving the wrong take on Israel-Palestine, giving a take that emphasizes the loss of innocent life on both sides. People are upset across the board no matter what you do, and I think we've all learned that very quickly. But there are three instances that I've witnessed really in the last couple of weeks that have shown me that we really emphasize the opinions and the takes of influencers and celebrities far too much in our society. Now let's talk about those instances. Selena Gomez, actress, singer, and former Disney star, ended up posting an Instagram story where she talked about how her heart ached for the loss of innocent life in this conflict. People were deeply disturbed by that, and mainly people on the Free Palestinian side of this conflict. They came after her with tweets and Instagram posts and YouTube videos, and eventually Selena Gomez decided, I'm going to log off Instagram. After the backlash, it seemed that she later decided to have her company Rare Beauty give humanitarian aid to those suffering in Gaza. And just as a disclaimer, I see nothing wrong with giving humanitarian aid, and I see nothing wrong with the decision that she made with Rare Beauty. I just want to talk about the mechanism that some activists have used in order to get her to that place. Then we have Aaliyah, a famous TikTok influencer who's known for her fashion and now music. Aaliyah made the grave mistake of going to a Starbucks and buying a drink. For those of you who don't know, many are currently boycotting Starbucks because of their support for Israel. Now, Aaliyah didn't post online that she was at Starbucks or make a video about how she supported the corporation. In fact, what happened was that the Starbucks employees ended up making a TikTok video about how Aaliyah had been in their store. It seems as though they were fans of hers and were just excited that she had walked in and bought a drink.
Stepping on next, little baddie, cashing big checks. I bought the whole block out, now that's a big flex. Peeping out my Uber window, like what's next?
And instead of viewing this as a cute encounter of an influencer with her fan, it seems as though the internet was more upset about the fact that she had spent money at Starbucks, a place that is supposed to be boycotted by anybody who supports Palestine. So they decided to also dogpile on Aaliyah, and she apologized.
Hey y'all, I'm gonna just address this one last time, but I had no idea that we were not supposed to go to Starbucks, and that is totally my fault. Like, I should have been more informed, so I have no excuse. I apologize to the people that are affected in Palestine and also to the people that are hurt, because I would genuinely never do that on purpose. And I'm not arguing with none of y'all because I was wrong, and I apologize. That's the end of it. If you want to donate and spread awareness and also know what companies to boycott so you don't make a mistake like me, the list in my bio to do so.
Now again, it is okay that these influencers and celebrities are voicing their support for Palestine. I am not going to talk about the inner workings of this conflict. I just want to talk about the fact that people are pressuring influencers to give their take on this issue. It's very reminiscent of this clip of influencer Jojo Siwa being asked about immigration.
Do you think every liberal Democrat should take home a migrant to show their support for the open border?
Jojo!
I don't know what language you just spoke,
I was
but
wondering
Nick taught me today that is above my pay grade.
take
Are you
home a migrant
Did you want
to
to
show
come in
their
here?
support for Joe Biden's open border policy.
Come
The
in,
mayor of
Chris.
New York City.
It's all right, Jojo.
I think the world needs love and
Jojo!
And mind you, Jojo Siwa's claim to fame is being an actress, dancer, singer for legit toddlers. This behavior is strange. It is weird. And I don't understand why we can't say that it is exactly that. And of course, it doesn't stop there. I have another story for you. Influencer Brittany Broski, who is best known for her comedy, podcasting, and interviewing, has been getting heat for being too late in talking about Israel versus Palestine.
Just when I thought white creators couldn't be more out of touch, Brittany Broski, of all people on the internet, has decided to share how she feels about the Palestinian genocide on her close friend's story, not thinking that people would see it. Basically, a little background, Brittany Broski does like a weekly podcast, and she's just like going about her podcast as if Palestine isn't like burning and thousands aren't dying. And so people were getting validly upset, saying like, hey, it's kind of weird that you're just like going about your life making this podcast when you have a huge audience and not addressing like the genocide in Palestine. And before you ask, why does everybody have to talk about it? Because there's a genocide happening. It's like your funny jokes can wait. There's a genocide happening. So please watch this video. I'm sick.
a segment to put at the beginning of next week's podcast episode addressing the situation in the Middle East. What dystopian universe? Sorry, it's not funny. It's absurd. But dystopian universe, do I have to address the situation in the Middle East at the top of a podcast episode? It is literally the scene from Inside by Bo Burnham. Who are you, wheat thins? Do you stand with the Palestinians? That's how I fucking... It is... In what universe am I a voice to speak on this? I am the opposite of the person that should be speaking on this. But because I have a check mark and I have over 1 million, immediately I'm qualified.
In a later video that she of course makes as an apology for what she put on her Instagram story, she states that as a white woman, she feels it is not her place to speak on this conflict, or at least be a predominant voice on this conflict.
Brittany Broski.
I wanted to give a full, robust, well thought out, thoughtful response. In this video she's referencing, which is a screen recording of my close friends who I don't know. That's a separate issue. I'm talking about how absurd and dystopian it is to look to people who look like me, first of all, for news and opinions and thoughts on what's happening in Palestine. I was voicing my confusion with the situation that I find myself in. You know, like having a platform and all this. No one teaches you how to use it. And the best that you can do is speak from the heart. And that's what I try to do. I'm also acutely aware that I'm a white woman and my voice is not needed.
Now, of course, the point that Brittany was making in that Instagram story that was meant to be for her close friends, mind you, is that she does not feel comfortable in her position as an influencer talking about something that carries such weight. She also states that as a white woman, she feels the need to make space for other voices on the conflict, but we're not going to get into that. All this to say, if it feels weird to be an influencer vocalizing your opinion on a foreign conflict, it's because it is weird. It is weird to build a large audience on comedy, dancing, acting, I don't know, entertaining children, and then be forced to be in a position where you give an opinion on a foreign conflict. And I get it. I personally have very strong opinions on what's happening right now, and I'm sure many others do. And we feel the need to influence the people who we know and those that have a platform into standing in solidarity for whatever issue we care about. But these are not individuals that we should rely on for their takes. It does not matter how large their platform is. And you know what those Free Palestinian people are doing when they go after influencers and celebrities who have these platforms? They are wasting their time and energy, and it could be used in far better arenas. Instead of actually emphasizing what's happening right now, sharing information, spreading the stories of people who are directly affected, you are spending your time dogpiling on influencers and celebrities who don't have the same opinion as you or who have yet to put out an opinion. Make it make sense. And it's getting so ridiculous that what's happening right now in the Middle East is becoming more about influencers and celebrities not talking than it is about those who are actually losing their lives. Not to mention that when you force an opinion out of any group of people, it reflects negatively on you and your movement. You all know that I'm no stranger to woke leftism, and often people in that camp like to pressure others into standing in solidarity on any given movement. And while it may help to get an apology or a statement or some money given to a charity, you're not actually building true solidarity. You're building a shallow representation of your movement because you are forcing people to give their opinion. And if you forced the person to give it, is it really their opinion in the first place? And I must point out the hypocrisy of these people. They are pushing for influencers and celebrities to talk about Israel, Palestine, because that's what they've been told to talk about. And it's not to say that you should not care about this conflict, that you should not care about the innocent lives being lost. It's just to say that there are many other conflicts of similar or worse scope happening in the world right now that nobody's talking about at all. For all the activists forcing people into talking about Palestine right now, when was the last time you spoke about, I don't know, slavery in Libya? When was the last time you spoke about the genocide in China with the Uyghur Muslims? When was the last time you spoke about what's happening in North Korea, an active genocide that's been happening for decades? Or the slave labor that's used to make your clothes, your cell phones, the very technology that you're using right now to post about Palestine? What about those suffering with the lack of food or water scarcity? That's happening all over the world. What about those subject to gang violence and drug cartels in Mexico and South America? What about the 1.7 million Afghans that have just been displaced? I'm not hearing a peep about any of that. I could go on and on with a long list of other people who are suffering day in and day out, losing their lives day in and day out. And yes, some of them at the hands of very vicious governments. And where are any of these people talking about those issues? They're not. So it's so interesting that they have so much energy and passion for what's happening right now in the Middle East. And yet all of that passion and energy is being used to yell at influencers and celebrities about not giving their take fast enough or giving the wrong take on the issue. And as it so often goes, when these influencers do decide to finally speak out, either A, because they've been pressured too much by these people, or B, because they've independently come to the conclusion that they support freeing Palestine, nobody cares. You come to find that in fact, them showing their solidarity did not change anybody's mind. It did in fact do nothing for the movement, and the very people who pressured you into giving your opinion are still angry at you for waiting too long. So just as it was at the beginning of this, no matter what you do, a group of people is going to be upset at you. You are damned if you do, you are damned if you don't. And I can't help but point out how ridiculous it is that we are looking to people who are famous for dancing or comedy or acting to give their take on this issue. In some ways, I get it. We do love to see influencers and celebrities who we have followed stand by the issues that we care about. And we do hope that in doing so, they influence some of their audience or at least push forward the movement and education on the movement. But this should not be something that is required of them. In fact, I would put it at the bottom of virtually any priority list in relation to any movement. And if we weren't so chronically online, this would never be happening in the first place. We would not be relying on influencers to give their takes on foreign conflicts or any movement. Now that we have this new realm of fame on social media where people can get famous for virtually anything and sometimes the most ridiculous thing, it is so weird to also expect those people to give takes on foreign conflicts. But I guess this is a new issue for the modern day. We saw it at the height of Black Lives Matter, we're seeing it now, and I'm sure we will see it again. And to me, it is just so strange. There are better uses for your time and your energy, and there are better people to go to if you want a take on what's happening right now, or if you want solidarity on your given side of the issue. So maybe, just maybe, it'd be good to take the heat off of these influencers and move on to better endeavors. But those are just my thoughts on this issue. As always, I encourage you to leave a comment down below. If you disagree with me, duke it out, but do so respectfully. And as always, like, subscribe, click the notification bell to be notified every single time I post a video for you guys, which is every single day. And I will see you next time.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.